Good evening to one and all. Warm welcome to the third day of the ATAL Faculty Development Program on Progressive Safety Engineering Strategies in Manufacturing and Industrial Application. It is my privilege to introduce the profile of our esteemed resource person for today's session, Mr. Venugopalan P., a distinguished professional with extensive experience in electrical engineering and industrial safety. He holds advanced qualification including an AMIE in electrical engineering, a master's diploma in industrial hygiene, safety, and computer application, as well as certification as a trained lead auditor for ISO standards and ESS practitioner. Currently served as a Secretary of Safety Council, Kerala. His impressive credential and dedication to engineering and safety make him a remarkable leader and value asset to any team. Now, I would like to request Mr. Venugopalan to kindly start the session of our FDP on topic personal protective equipment and mission safety. Welcome you, sir, for this session.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we'll start.
Okay, sir, I will start the session.
So the presentation you can start.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, all. No response.
Good evening, sir.
The participants.
Very
See,
good evening,
I am
sir.
expecting an interactive session. This cannot be a one-way explanations. You have to interact. Then only the practical view we can effectively bring in. So I would request all of you to please interact. And there is no right and wrong questions or nothing is there. It is only our discussions and we are sharing our knowledge. Okay. I want some response from the participants, please. Because I am not seeing any of you. Hello. Are you there? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So today's session is on personal protective equipment and machine safety. So here you can see that there are certain words which we have to understand it. So what is that protective equipment? Personal protective equipment, PPE. Any idea? Hello? Hello? Any idea about this for the participants?
Sir, personal protective equipment is a last line of defense in industrial safety.
Okay. So, I would like to know from your side, what do you mean by safety? What is safety? Safety is the condition of being protected from harm, danger, or injury, which is achieved by taking measures to control recognized hazards and create an environment where people, process, and system are free from threat. So, last three words, free from threat. So, safety is free from threat and it is protecting from harm. And there are certain other words, hazards, recognized hazards. So, in a workplace, hello, are you with me? Hello, please participate.
Yes, sir.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you see here recognized hazards. See, this everything is based on the workplace. So in our workplace, there are certain hazards. So first, we should understand what are the hazards is there. So in the workplace, the hazards we have to identify. Hazard is the potential uh, form of danger. So it can happen or it cannot happen. But we should understand that there is a danger in it. So that danger is the hazard. So you see that, for an example, if you are talking or if you are saying electricity is a hazard, anytime we can get a shock if something goes wrong. And slippery floor is a hazard. Anytime we can fall down. Like that, there is the hazard is a potential source of harm. So it's a source of harm, such as dangerous substances, human activity. Even the human activity can also be a danger, or natural phenomena that could cause death, injury, property damage, or other negative impacts. So here we are looking for the negative impacts because it's a source of harm. Okay, so hazard, we should understand what is hazard. First, we should understand what is hazard in a workplace. In a workplace, if we are able to identify the hazards, then there are certain activities which can control the effect of this hazard. So effect of the hazard is known as the risk. So when the human is interacting with the hazardous situation, it can cause some risk. So risk is a possibility of an unfavorable event. It's an unfavorable event. It is not a favorable event, or an uncertain outcome that could result in a loss or negative impact. Here also it is negative impact. So whenever it goes to a negative impact, that is harmful to us. So when we are talking about safety, we should know these things. So for this, actually, what we are doing is that hazard identification and risk assessment is a process in every industry to identify what is the dangers available or existing in our workplace. Workplace should be safe, then only the people can work motivatedly. For that, we should ensure that the workplace is safe. If you want to ensure the workplace is safe, first you should know what are the unsafe conditions available in this workplace. Then what are the corrective actions or controls that we are implementing to see that the negative impact is reduced to a controllable level or acceptable level. When it comes to an acceptable level, because even though there is a negative impact, that need not be affecting our day-to-day work, so we are safe. So here, what we are intending to state is that in every workplace, there are dangers, there are unsafe situations. Then how we can convert that unsafe condition or danger into a safe mode? That is what we are looking here. And our subject today or our session is on personal protective equipments. What is personal protective equipment? So the persons or the working people are protected from the potential hazards or likely risk, and the individual will be protected by using or by implementing the personal protective equipments. That is what we are looking here. And here again, what I am saying is that you should please move to the workplace. Think of that when you are working, even in a classroom, even in a workshop, even in a laboratory. when you are doing, what all dangers are there? Just think of that. Just see that. If your housekeeping is not proper, if your fire methods are not proper, what will happen? If the way is blocked, what will happen? If the pathway is blocked with materials, what will happen? Just think of those things. If the emergency exit door is locked, what will happen? And if the emergency exit door is blocked by dumping materials, what will happen? So these all things is needed to ensure safety. So here we should look, when you are going to a workshop, when you are going to a laboratory, please see all these things. If you are able to see these things, observe the lab, observe the workshop, and if you are able to see these things, normally when you are daily going there, you will not be seeing all these things. But what I am saying is that you should observe it, find out it, identify that. Then you will be able to make your workplace more safe. Okay? Are you with me? Hello? Hello? We have got 76 participants, but nobody is responding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are hearing. We are hearing. Please keep on
Okay,
going, sir.
okay, right, right. So till this point, if you have any doubt, please ask. Then I can clarify that, because otherwise at the end we will not be able to get time.
Okay, sir.
Ah, any doubts?
No,
Because
no, thank you. No,
eh?
thank you, sir. No,
Because I
no
have
doubt, sir. No doubt.
okay. Now you have to note down that there are certain keywords: safety, hazard, risk, HERA, and risk control. Okay, is it clear? Next slide, please. Here we are saying that once the risk is assessed, we should implement some risk control measures. Here we are putting a hierarchy of the controls. In any workplace, to ensure it is safe, hazard identification risk assessment, that is HERA, to be done. It has to be recorded and updated in case of any changes. So HERA is not a permanent register. It's a dynamic record. And whenever any change happens, change in the sense, change in the process, change in the layout, change in the people, change in the machinery, change in the process, anything, any change happens, we have to do the HERA or hazard identification resistance afresh. And we have to find out the risk level and what are the risk control measures. The register is to be maintained and updated regularly, because then only we will be knowing that any change happens naturally, the hazard and risk can change. So we should focus on that. What is a hazard, what is a risk, and what are the changes incorporated in the process or anything. Even the man, when the operating people changes also, we have to take care. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now you see that hierarchy of the controls, that to reduce the level of risk to an acceptable condition, there are certain controlling actions initiated. So they are categorized as below. First, we are saying it is elimination. If there is an hazardous situation and that hazard cannot be controlled, so we should see that can we eliminate that process or that hazardous situation and substitute with something else? Is it possible? So that is an elimination that we have to, that is actually the process engineering, all the things are coming there. Here, first we should find out If you are using a chemical, it is so hazardous and corrosive. You want to change that chemical in place of that corrosive or a toxic chemical. You can change that chemical and substitute with another chemical. So here the elimination process happens, and after that you can substitute with some other chemicals or some other materials. So that is the second, substituting. So first is elimination, second is substituting. And normally these two things will be very rarely happening because our process, our workplace, it is fixed with certain processes. Here, the third one is the engineering control. Engineering control means we are controlling the risk to an acceptable level by incorporating some engineering technological methods. That actually the machine safety, I will be explaining it in detail. What is the engineering control then? Then fourth one is that administrative control. What is that administrative control? There the role of the supervisor or the leader comes. Here we should educate the people how things has to be done in a safe way. For that, actually, we'll be having some standard operating practices. In short, we'll be saying it as SOPs. Then work instructions will be there. So certain work, you have to do this first, then this, like that. There is a work instruction in a sequential way. And third one is that there are certain checklists. When you are doing some process, there are some checklists. What is the temperature? What is the level? What is the flow rate? What is the mixing speed? Like that, these checklists will be there and that you have to check. So in all these things, what is really happening is that you are doing the work in such a way that it will not invite any danger or any risk to the operating people by doing all this standard operating practice and following work instruction and checking all the checklist points. If you are doing this, then we will be able to control the probable risk to a certain acceptable level, because we cannot 100% eliminate the risk. There will be something, because when you are seeing that electricity, if we are doing touching the bare conductor, definitely you will get a shock. But what you can do is that no exposed bare conductor is available. That is why the wires are insulated, the plug tops are insulated, the switches are insulated, and everything is enclosed in a cubicle. So these are the protective arrangements that we have done. And if we are not able to, the next portion comes the personal protective equipments. If we are not able to protect the working people there, then finally what we are doing is that we are using the personal protective equipment. So personal protective equipment is nothing but it is a last resort for protecting the individuals. All other engineering arrangements or administrative arrangements are not effective, then we should go for this. But this personal protective equipment actually we are implementing in our workplace for certain type of works. So first you should understand personal protective equipment is the last resort protective arrangement. It is not the first. First thing is the elimination of the hazardous processes. Second one is that if you are able to substitute that hazardous process, you have to focus on the substitution. And because these are the permanent solutions. And third one is that engineering control. Wherever you can incorporate the technological developments then that has to be done there. And fourth one is the administrative control. Administrative control is actually in administration, we should have a supervision, because or supervision and training. Training is other part, because some of these things, SOPs, you have to train the people who are working there. What is the standard operating practice? You have to give sufficient training, and this training actually they should get the 100% information and practice. Otherwise, what will happen if he is not able to understand? Then things will go wrong, and that may cause danger. So that situation should not be there. So training is a important part of this standard operating practice. And next is that work instruction. So there is an instruction given how to do the job. That is work instruction, and that is documented also. So here we have to follow the instruction given how to do the job. So that should be our next criteria. And third one is the checklist. That earlier, as I said, you have to check what is the voltage level, if maybe, or what is the temperature, or what is the speed of rotation, or what is the level, what is the flow rate, like that. What is the pressure, what is the vacuum created. These things in a process, it is needed, and we should be following that. And we should see that checklist is perfectly followed. And finally, we are using the personal protective equipment. So personal protective equipment means you are protecting the personnel who is working there from the hazardous situation. So you are creating a barrier by providing the personal protective equipment. So personal protective equipment is a barrier between the human and the hazardous situation. So we should be very clear. It is a final result, and we should ensure that the personal protective equipments, if we are using, it is using in the right way, right method. We'll be coming to that. Next slide, please. What is personal protective equipment? Here we are saying that personal protective equipment, that is PPE. In short, we are saying it as PPE, are protective items like helmet, gloves, and respirators want to shield against specific hazards. So it is a limitation. Personal protective equipment has a limitation that it can be used against specific hazards, not for everything. It is only for a particular hazard in the workplace, such as falling objects. So falling objects will protect the human by using helmet. If you are putting helmet, your head can be protected from the falling objects. Chemical splash. Chemical splash. Actually, what is that? Gloves. When you are operating a chemical, you have to use the hand gloves to protect your hand from the chemical. And third one is that respirators. Respirator will actually protect you from the airborne particles. So the air that which we are breathing will be having different particles. Airborne particles will be there. So some of the things, if you are, for example, if it is silica dust, if you are breathing silica dust, you will be having a problem of silicosis, or otherwise you will be having a breathing problem. The silica will be getting deposited in your lungs, and actually our body has a nature that any foreign particles is to be expelled out. For that, in this case, actually, this will generate some mucus. By mucus, this has to be washed out. If it is not going, then that will create some cough. So by coughing, by the material will be thrown out through the mucus, and still it is not going, then it will become infected, and then you will be having asthma problems. Like that, it will go on. So for that, if you want to protect from that, you can use a filter mask where these particles are not breathed in when you are in a atmosphere where the dust particles are more. Like that, we can protect the individual from specified hazards by using the PPEs. There are various examples. Now, you are protecting your head by using helmet. You are protecting your eyes by using specs, goggles. You are protecting your ear by using earplug, ear muff, like that. So here, if the helmet is used, there are certain other things has to be thought about that or explained on that. When you are having the helmet, there is a chin belt. That chin belt has to be tight. Tight in the sense, it should not be highly tight. It should have some gap also. Then only you will be able to wear the helmet. And you should have that helmet. Helmet, have you seen that helmet? Inside there is a another spring-like thing will be there. Sponge will be there. It depends on each manufacturer. But one thing is that when a weight is hitting on your head, the load will be equally transferred across your surface area of the head. Whereas if you are not using a helmet, a weight or something is falling on your head, it impinges on one point, and that load will be heavy, and it is sufficient to break your skull. So that's why we are saying that helmet has to be worn, and that helmet, the chin belt has to be properly tied. So when you are using a helmet, not only helmet, but the chin belt also to be taken care. And you have to use the personal protective equipment in such a way that it really protects your body part. So if it has to be protected, if you are using a helmet is used only to protect your head. So it should serve the purpose why we are using a helmet. For namesake or for showing others, don't keep the cap on your head. It is not a cap. It's a protective device. Okay. So helmet. Next one is it goggles. Goggle means it is not the cooling glass or something. It should protect your eyes. So there should be shielding around your eye, and you should be able to see clearly. So the Google quality should be two things. One is that the clear glass, or clear where you can see. And another thing is that it should actually close your eyes from other sides where no foreign particles will be falling into your eyes. So Google, when you are selecting, it should be such a way that it should protect your eyes. It is not an material that just wearing it. You are wearing it for protecting your body part. Here, goggles is used to protect your eyes. Okay. Next one is that earplug. See, normally our audible level is in some decibels, and now in India it is 90 decibels for 8 hours exposure, but it is going to be revised to 85 decibels for 8 hours exposure. 8-hour exposure means it is weighted average. Now what we have to do is that we this normal talking will be around 50 to 60 decibels. So we should keep our noise level as low as possible. Otherwise, our ear will be affected. It. So there is a problem. We call it as noise-induced hearing loss. So we'll be losing our hearing capability if we are working in a noisy atmosphere for continuously for 5 to 10 years or so. Some people will be able to work 15 or 20 years, but at the end, the problem will be he will not be having the proper listening or hearing power. So it is a noise-induced hearing loss. So if we want to protect ourselves from such a situation, we should use a earplug or earmuff when we are working in a noisy atmosphere. Here, what we are saying is that any earplug can filter up to from 17 to 25 decibels. So you just think that if you are working in a 105 decibel area, if you are using an earplug, that will come to around 80 to 87 decibels, which is bearable for our ear. What is actually happens in a noisy atmosphere? Where how we are getting the noise, how we are getting the sound, or how we are hearing? Actually, the sound will be having a it is transmitted as a vibration, and that vibration has some energy that is being impinged on our eardrum. Eardrum is a thin membrane that will vibrate because of the noise level. So that vibration will be converted to the sound in our brain. So here, actually, our eardrum has a vibrating effect. Just think of a small metal piece. If it is being hold one at one place, and if you are making it to vibrate continuously, after some time, it will break. The same thing happens for our eardrum also. If we are impinging heavy sound on our eardrum, gradually the ability to vibrate will be reduced. When that is reduced, our hearing loss is also lost. So to avoid that situation, we should wear earplugs to filter the heavy noise from reaching to the eardrum. Okay. Now, next one is that mask. Respiratory mask. What is respiratory mask? Is a barrier provided in our respiratory line that we should not inhale dusty or polluted or smoky air inside our body. So to filter that, we are using a mask that is known as respiratory mask. Here also, you should see that this respiratory mask is fitting properly on our face, covering our nose and mouth. There should not be any other intrusions where the air without filtering can enter into our body. Here also we should see that the usage of mask should be proper, perfect. It should be working as a barrier between our respiratory system and the outside air. Here you see, when it is dusty, what will happen? If you are using, now also the people are, when they are traveling on bikes and all these things, the people used to tie the handkerchief, and we can see that the near to the nose holes, two black dots will be there. It is because of the smoke coming from the other vehicles which they are inhaling. Okay, now this is the situation. The environment have enough bad particles, bad materials, bad air, which will affect our respiratory system. Our respiratory system is taking the fresh air from outside, take over the required oxygen for the oxidation of the blood, then remaining will be exhaled out. And we are doing it 12 to 20 times in a minute. Okay. And our heart is having a pulse rate of 72 times per minute. So the blood will be moving out and in depending on our pulse rate, pumping rate. Okay. So these things we should consider. So our body is a machine which works without stopping. If it stop, means we are nowhere. So it should not stop. Okay. Now, after this respirator, next one is that face mask is there, because sometimes we have to shield our face also from what's it? Hello. So the face mask is another thing. It's another PPE. Then comes the apron, because when we want to cover our body, protect our body from some splashes or something, or heat, or some other corrosive condition, we should use the aprons. Hand gloves are there. Hand gloves means there are different types of gloves depending on the usage. Here you can see that there are rubber gloves will be there, asbestos gloves will be there, and small on where we use it. What is the purpose of that? So gloves, hand gloves will be there, and it is different types. The type depends on the actually what we where we are using it. Then comes the leg protection, foot protection. It is a safety shoe. Shoe means there are different types of shoes. What I say? This ankle covering and a safety shoe with the metal toe and all these things. So shoes also different depending on the requirement of the condition, the shop floor. If you are working in a moist or watery atmosphere, it should be water resistant. If you are working in a electrical situation, electrical working, so it should be an insulated shoe. So depending on your job, the type of shoe will be different. But the shoe is, we call it as safety shoe, is required to protect your foot. Why your foot has to be protected? It is not a small injury and all these things. Your total body balancing center is beneath your foot. It should not get damaged. If it is damaged, then your total balancing will be out. So here you should protect that area. For that only the shoe is there. And the other things is normal. Okay. So every part of your body can be protected by using personal protective equipment, depending on the situation where you are working. Okay. Now, these are okay. Certain areas where you have to work, maybe oxygen will be less. It is a oxygen less areas are there. There you should use a scaba. That is self-contained breathing apparatus. SCABA has to be used. For you should have seen that the people who are working under the water will be having these two cylinders on back of them, and they will be having a face mask where they will be able to breathe oxygen from these cylinders. So that is known as SCABA, a self-contained breathing apparatus. So if the oxygen availability is less, there you can use these things, such as mines. Mines also, some area the oxygen availability will be less. There you can use the SCABA, and the underwater you can use SCABA. And some of the areas where if there is a fire hazard, smoke will be there. There, if you want to do something, we can use SCABA. And if the LPG is leaked, liquid petroleum gas is leaked, if you want to do some leak arrest or something, you can use the SCABA, because oxygen will not be available there. It should be replaced by the LPG. LPG is thicker, denser than this oxygen, so it will go out. So these are the situations where personal protective equipments are used on the next slide, please. How PPE protects, that is exposure reduction. First activity is that PPE exposure will be reduced. So minimize the chance of being exposed to hazard which can cause injuries or illness. So this is first is the reduction of the exposure. Next is creating a barrier between the human and the dangerous situations or the substance. Then prevents transmission, that is acts as a tool to stop spreading of germs. During this COVID situation, we were using that clinical mask whenever we are going out. So that actually prevents the transmission of the germs. Next slide, please. How PPE can be effective, the effectiveness, how we can improve the effectiveness. So what is that you are understanding by effectiveness? Any idea? You are using a mask, respiratory mask. You should get the 100% advantage of the respiratory mask when you are using it. So for that is the effectiveness. So for that, what we have to do? So people potential hazard, we have to use the PPE. Next slide, please. So it works as a PPE can be dangerous also. There are certain situations where PPE can be dangerous. What is that? Ensuring it fit correctly to the individual. Now we are purchasing it from the market. So it will be almost of the same shape and size. But there are certain individuals, from my experience itself, there are certain individuals will not be able to fit it properly on their face or nose like that. There are respiratory masks was a first issue. We purchased around 12 half face respiratory masks and issued to the employees. But one of the guy was not wearing it. I inquired about the situation, why he is not doing it. He said that it is not fitting properly for me. When I checked, he had a problem because his nose has a bend. That's why this PPE or this half face mask was not fitting properly on his nose, and it was making pain for him also. That's why he was not using. So here We have to ensure that it is correctly fitting. And if it is not there, we have to find out another solution. Immediate solution for me was that instead of half face mask, I gave him a full face mask, which will protect him from the situation and it is not dangerous. So we have sorted out that issue like that. So here, each and every individual has to be checked and followed up and ensure that they are actually using it in the right sense and right way. And PPE can be dangerous if it is not. It is not a thing that it will be regularly or the life is there. It can damage. So damaged PPE if you are using whatever we said about the barrier or protection will not be there. So damaged personal protective equipment should not be used. If you are using that, in certain industries I have seen that if you are giving a mask, that mask will be for 15 days. They have to use. Some situation after second day itself, it will be getting damaged. So he will be using the same thing for next 13 days. So it should not be there. Damaged PPEs should be replaced. Yes. As a poor fit can lead to greater exposure. And as I said earlier, if it is not properly fitting, it can lead to more exposure to the dangerous situations, which will again nullify the usage of PPE. So we should be very, very conscious about the situation and on each and every employee that when we are using a PPE, is it proper? Is it fitting to him properly? Is it clean? Is it damaged? Is it requires a replacement? These things we should follow. And when you are in the classroom or in the lab, you can communicate to the students also that they should understand the situation. They should understand why the PPE is there. You can see that in our these small workshops, there are welders. They will be welding without using the dark glass. Actually, for welding, this dark glass number should be dark index number should be about 9 to 13. But people will not be using it, and people will be using a dark glass, which is used for some other purpose. So we should clearly indicate that this darkness will be reducing the light intensity reaching in their eyes, and that will protect their eye. So they should be clearly communicated why personal protective equipments are being used, what is the benefit and what is the drawback. Both the things has to be explained in the classroom on the workshop. Okay. Now next slide, please. See, these are certain examples that I have shown here. There is a helmet. There's a goggle. Next slide. Yeah, these are the earplugs. This is the respiratory mask. Next. Here the gloves and the apron. Next. Safety shoe. Some examples I have shown here, but there are much more personal protective equipments depending on our requirement and situation. We have to choose it. There are enough materials are available. Okay. Here now we are not brought into one or two situations where the people are working at height. When the people are working at height, the working at height actually the definition is that if an individual is working above 6 feet from the ground, that is taken as working at height. If he is working above 6 feet, so that is working at height. When he is working at height, he should use the safety belt with the double lane on it. So here you have to see that. But normally we will be seeing that the people will not be using anything when they are working even more height, 35 feet or 30 feet. They will not be using anything. But actually, if you want to keep a operative or the worker safe, they should be given the safety belt, body harness, safe body harness. It will, if he is slipping down, it will hold him on the lifeline and we can bring down him with other gadgets slowly without affecting any danger to the individual. For that, he should wear this full body harness. If it is not used, we cannot protect him. So that has to be insisted. When we are working, what are things needed to be safe has to be worn by the individual. So that mindset has to be brought in. And that during the education level itself, we should bring that. Then only the safety can be insisted or we can achieve the safety. Conditions is this. First, we should create a mind that people should work safely. Work safely means all these conditions has to be satisfied. And now, personal protective equipments also, we should insist on using it properly. Right? Next slide, please. Next slide. By using personal protective equipment, what all things we can protect? One is a chemical hazard, exposure to corrosive or toxic substances, because we can have the apron, we can have the goggles, we can have the mask, respiratory mask, we can have the gloves. By using all these things, the chemical hazard, the exposure to such situation can be minimized. Physical hazards, mechanical, electrical, or other physical dangers. By using personal protective equipments, we can protect ourselves from such situations, mechanical, physical hazards. And third is biological hazards, bacteria, viruses, germs, and other infective agents. Those can be protected by using proper gloves, proper mask, and all these things. And finally, radiological hazards, exposure to radiation. Exposure to radiation means actually we will be using the coats, lead lined coats, which will reflect the radiational effect. So these things, by using PPEs, we can protect from such hazards. So here we should see that there are certain hazards. For that, what are the PPEs suitable to keep the person safe, that we have to see. So these are the things. Everything is depending on the situation. Okay. Next slide, please. How we will select, use, maintain, store the PPE. So the selection of PPE, normally it will be with the management or the purchase department. Then usage of PPE is by the working people. Maintenance, once the PPE is issued to the working people, they will be maintaining it and they will be storing it after use. Once, for that, actually, what are things we should focus? So based on the HERA, hazard identification and risk assessment, we should identify the apt PPE. We should identify the PPE which is really gives us a result. So we have to find out that PPE first, and that is the role of the management or the experts in the management team. It should be fitting properly to the individuals who is using it. So when we are purchasing, we should ensure that the operating people who are going to use it will be able to fit it properly when they are using it. So this also we have to find out, because when we are looking back, the people who are using this will be very limited and very specific also. So we can identify the individuals and find out which one is fitting properly to them. And depending on that only we should purchase. So PPE needs to be kept clean. So take the case of a mask. When you are breathing through the mask, there should not be any other unclean situation, because we are breathing it to our lungs and breathing in. Okay. Next is that the PPE should be in good condition. Damaged PPE will not give the required protection. So it should be in good condition, and it should be properly maintained to remain it effective. It should be properly maintained to be effective, because you know that if the PPE is not properly maintained, it will not give you result. Okay. Next slide, please. User must be trained. Here, how we can achieve all these things? So the using people, users must be trained sufficiently to how to use it properly, how to remove it, and how to maintain, and how to store it. All these things has to be properly trained, and the training can be given by the by the supplier, because they'll be knowing it better, or otherwise our experts in the industry can give it. But the proper training is a must for using the PPEs. PPE as a life. Here again, this is not lifelong. Any PPE has a life. So we should inspect it before using it. Whether it is a mask, whether it is a gloves, whether it is a helmet, or whether it is a body harness, whatever it may be, before using the PPE, we should inspect it. And if we found it is damaged, it has to be replaced. Damaged PPE we should not be used. So we should inspect the PPE before use, and if it is damaged, it has to be replaced. Okay. It should be a good PPE, then only we can use it. Okay. PPE has a life. So if it is dirty, if it is damaged, if it is worn out, it has to be replaced. That is what we want. Okay, next slide, please. What is machine safety? Here we are saying about the PPEs. Now, machine. Machine means, what is machine? System of machines. So during design itself, we will be incorporating all the safety measures. Next one is a machine should be guarded. So there will be moving parts, rotating parts, and power lines. So this has to be guarded perfectly, because the guard will protect the individual from this dangerous situation. Just think of a belt-driven pulley is rotating, and if you are standing very close to that, that can cause some dangerous situation for the individual. So to avoid that, we will be giving a belt guard. So guarding is needed. Or you can give, if it is a big machine and there is a lot of rotating parts, you can give a fence, and fence can be locked. Okay, and that locking can be interlocked with the machine drive also. If every gates are closed and locked, then only the machine will get started. So that is a machine guarding. And machine maintenance. Another thing is that to be safe, the machine has to be maintained properly. One, first of all, the cleaning is a thing. Machine has to be cleaned well. Then lubrication. Cleaning and lubrication has to be given priority, and that is a part of preventive maintenance also. So machine maintenance is a must, and burn out parts has to be replaced after planning the maintenance. So maintenance is also a part for ensuring the machine safety to prevent accidents and ensuring safe workplace. Next slide, please. Machine can create various hazards like falling debris, rotating parts that can entangle clothing, chemical or heat exposure, and electrical danger, etc., which I actually explained. So this is a situation machine. The hazards are there. So PP provides specific or limited protection against these risks. So here, machine safety can be assured by guarding, proper maintenance, as I said earlier, and after that, using the PPEs apt for the situation. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, I'm stopping the explanation here. If you have any doubt, any queries, you can ask. Good. People are responding. Very good. Very good.
Participants, you have any queries? You can drop in A and 2, or you can ask the question now.
Sir, audible, sir. What
Audible.
role will AI and IoT play in transforming traditional PPE into intelligent safety systems?
Hmm.
That is the question, sir.
See here, actually, this artificially intelligent system is actually implemented in the control part, whereas personal protective equipment is a physical protection. Okay, is it clear? One is on the control part and the other one is on physical protection.
Sir, next question is how to properly use PPE in different field.
In the
Different field.
it is very unique. In each field, it has its own way of using it. When you are using a dust mask, respiratory mask, in a dusty atmosphere and in a clear area, it is entirely different. And another thing is that when you are doing the storing and maintenance, you will be doing some activity to keep it in good condition. So that also matters here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
There is no generalized situation. It is very specific, very unique to each situations. Next.
The next question is any limitations of PPE equipment?
Limitation actually, because in the hierarchy itself, it is coming as a last resort. And it is not 100% protection as the system is concerned. Here, what we are doing is that we are just giving a barrier between the hazard and the individual to safeguard him to a certain level. Just think of that mask itself or the gloves. How much a gloves can save an individual's hand? It is only small things. It's not a big protection. So PPE has its own limitations depending on the situations and how we are using it. Okay. Anything? Any other question?
No, sir.
Okay. Hope I'm clear. I
Yes,
made
sir.
the situations clear. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Just see the chat box.
Dear participants, you can ask your queries now. You can drop it in Q&A tool.
What role will AI and IoT play in transforming traditional PPE into intelligent safety system?
Here again, I am saying that PPE is only a personal protective equipment, whereas artificial intelligence and its controls it is different. That is actually giving us an indication that the situation is like this. Can be continuous monitoring also. Whereas you can think of this, we can give the temperature of the furnace by this system technology. Whereas a PPE, when you are going to the proximity of the furnace, you will feel the temperature. So to avoid that, you can use an apron. So the temperature will be, the effect of the temperature will be reduced. So here the PPE and the technology has these differences.